Back on The Retirement Chef, whipping up wealth with Brian Butler, CEO and Senior Wealth Advisor with Wealth Standard Financial. And man, we've covered a lot of topics on today's program, including making sure you have a strategic tax plan in place when it comes to your retirement. Also, make sure that risk score in your portfolio matches your personality. If you'd like more details on that, converting to Roth conversions, tax rates that could change in the future, and how that could affect your Social Security, that and so much more. Not something you want to tackle on your own, folks. That's why you want to seek the advice of a person like Brian Butler. And he is here to take your calls today at 832-957-9008. 832-957-9008, or online, it's wealthstandardfinancial.com. Well, Brian, I know you just had a birthday recently. I've got one coming up tomorrow, as a matter of fact. My son just turned 10. We got a busy 3 weeks in the McAlpin household. My son's birthday is April 28th. Mine is May the 5th. And then we have got our anniversary on May the 12th. So, and then Mother's Day. So we kind of knock it all out at once. Bam, bam, bam. We do it all right here in a 3-week span, and we get it out of the way. But my wife continues to remind me, Brian, that I am getting older. And you know you're getting older when, well, you not only notice physical signs of aging, but also other signs as well. Well, here is comedian Karen Mills talking about something we're all dealing with, getting older.
Like when I'm driving, if I'm not sure where I'm going, I have to turn the radio down so I can see. But you know what they say, 50's the new 40, 40's the new 30, 9 o'clock's the new midnight. Some friends of mine were having a party not long ago, and I stopped by, and they said, "Oh, yay, Karen, you came." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here." And we've got from 8 to 9 to blow this mother up. Because I got Yellowstone waiting.
I think we can all relate to. I think my favorite part of that is midnight's the new 9, right? I mean, yeah. If it's 9:30, I'm up late these days. What about you?
No, if an event starts at 8, I'm probably not going.
That's right.
It's like, you want me to get there at 8 o'clock? Yeah, I'm not going.
And let's be honest, if it starts at 8, you can't get there at 8. You got to be fashionably late, right? 8:15, 8:20, right? Are you like me when it comes to that?
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm a daytime person. So if there's a brunch, a lunch, an early afternoon, hey, I'm for it. If it starts getting nighttime, I'm like, when did this happen? I don't leave the house.
I noticed this, and it's so funny she mentions it, because I noticed I did this a couple of weeks ago. I was driving to my son's travel baseball game, and I pulled in the parking lot trying to find a place to park, and I was like, turn the radio down. Why do I need to turn the radio down to find a parking spot? But we've all done it, haven't we?
All my concentration on, I don't need any distractions.
We've all been there. We've all done it. And one thing we do know, Brian, as we get older, things like healthcare needs are also going to change with age. So is that something that maybe you like to try to address with clients early on, maybe in one of the first meetings you have? Because I know we talked about it earlier in the show. Your clients become family, down the road. But is this something you really also try to stay out in front of?
It definitely is. So healthcare, long-term care are huge pieces of the retirement plan that are close to my heart. My father, needed long-term care from the time he was 52 until he passed away at 56. And it was a huge learning lesson that I saw. And then I saw, my grandmother, before she passed away, she needed long-term care or help for 20-something years. And so from the time she was in her late 70s till she passed away at 97 years old, she needed long-term care. So my dad needed a short period and my grandmother needed a long period. And so it's one of those things that I see clients drastically underestimate what their healthcare needs are going to be. They look at, okay, this is what it is now. Okay, I could potentially need some help. Even if you want in-home help when you get a little older, that still costs a lot.
Yeah.
And so if you're doing it in today's numbers, depending on what you're looking at thousands of dollars every month. And is that where you want to spend your money? Is that where you want your legacy to be spent on taxes and healthcare? And so there are some easy ways to strategize and take care of that. So, whether it be long-term care policies, life insurance policies with living benefits if something happens to you or you get sick, annuities that have some of these bells and whistles to help take some of the pressure off of your portfolio. It's definitely one of those things. And we hear this a lot from people when it comes to healthcare and paying for it. I'm going to self-insure. So that's not, you're going to self-pay. There's no such thing as self-insure. Insurance is a transfer of risk. So you're transferring some of your risk to an insurance company to complement what you're trying to do. So whether that be long-term care insurance, life insurance, annuities, all of those things transfer risk to the insurance company, and then return for your premiums, you get a benefit. And so how does that help in your retirement plan? But healthcare is one of those things that people, even though they know it's going to be expensive, I don't think that they realize how expensive it really is. And they're underestimating that and how that's going to affect their plan. Even if you started off with $2 million, it's pretty quick that if you need a long-term care for 5 years, you could deplete half of that money really fast.
Yeah.
And so that's what we look at from a retirement plan. Healthcare is a huge piece of it.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, too. We know that there's a lot of lifestyle issues that come about when you plan for your retirement. What are some of the things, maybe non-financial? What are some of the things that people overlook if they try to go ahead and do this planning on their own?
Some of the planning, not just the financial piece, the taxes, the long-term care and all that. What are you going to do? Well, like, what are you going to do with your time?
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Many times people don't necessarily expand their minds on what's possible. And when they do, like, open yourself up to the possibilities that are out there. I've had several people that want to teach. You know, it's a different animal when you don't, your lifestyle is not dependent on you being a teacher.
Right.
Because teachers are wonderful. They do a great job. But many of them want to pass on the knowledge that they have. So they can teach or volunteer or sit on boards. What are you going to do with your time? You know, after a few months of playing golf or sitting around going fishing or traveling, you start to go, traveling's work.
Yes, it is.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But don't think that it's some work. You gotta picking up bags, going here, getting on planes, jumping off, doing. It's fun work, I would say, but it also is work. And you want to build in time for relaxation. And then how are you going to be fulfilled? Fulfillment is a huge part of retirement, regardless of what it is. It's different for each person. How are you going to be fulfilled? And then what does your freedom look like? Fulfillment and freedom, I think, are two of the things, non-financial, that people don't necessarily pay enough attention to.
Let me ask you this, too, because obviously we think about retirement. We have this vision of what it's going to look like. And then, you know, you wake up those first couple of weeks. And like you said, yeah, there's some things you want to get done. Maybe it's projects around the house. Maybe it's just going out and playing golf with buddies. But like you said, finding a way to fill that time. That time, there's a lot more time than I think a lot of folks realize before. You know, you're 40 hours a week at least in the workforce for all these years. Do you find that that's one of those things that people go, I just didn't realize how much time I really had on my hands now?
Right. And so it's a process of discovery.
Yeah.
So they're discovering what their life is going to look like. And so just like when you graduated college and you got your first job, you didn't necessarily know how that particular industry worked completely. You might have had an idea, but if you got into corporate America, you're navigating, we have to do this now, and this is how this works. And it's the same thing for retirement. It's an exercise in discovery. So you're discovering what it looks like, what you want to happen. You have the time now to give back many times. And I see that a lot. So philanthropy is a huge part of retirement for some people. Teaching, giving back their time, donating to causes that are important to them, and then just experiencing things that they didn't necessarily couldn't experience before. Taking up a language to keep your brain sharp. It's all kinds of things that you can do. And, you know, with the internet now, it's never been easier to discover some of the things that you might want.
Yeah.
And then finding an online community, finding in-person community. Community is a huge part of longevity. And you see that a lot of times with the blue zones that are around the world, the places that people live the longest. Community is a huge part of their retirement and their lives. And so they tend to live longer because they have a sense of community or family. And it's a huge thing that is fun for me to see that discovery and that journey for people as they get ready to retire. But it's definitely something that people overlook initially.
Yeah. By the way, you just just had I had such a flashback talking about traveling being work. Anybody that's jumped on a plane and gone to Central Florida or out to the West Coast to see the mouse, you know that that's not a vacation. You need a vacation from your vacation, right? Oh, I'm going to go to the happiest place on earth. And then you get out of there and you go, man, I am cooked. Like I need a vacation from that. There's nothing relaxing about one of those trips, is there?
Oh, we've been looking at Disney. My daughter has just started to say, "Oh, that would be fun to go to," and we're like, "Oh, please don't bring it up. We might go, but we're avoiding that like the plague."
Sorry, honey, they're closed that day. We're going to have to go somewhere else. They're closed for a couple days.
Yeah, sure.
But listen, folks, if you're out there, if you're getting set for retirement, you'd like more details on maybe some of the blind spots you have left out when it comes to your retirement planning, how you're going to fill all that free time, how are things going to change as you get older? You want to make sure you have that guaranteed stream of income like we talked about earlier in the program. Also, taxes, a major part of what you want to have in your plan here as you get ready for retirement. Not something you want to try to tackle on your own. That's why Brian Butler and his team at Wealth Standard Financial are standing by to help. Give them a call today. Get that initial consultation scheduled at 832-957-9008. 832-957-9008. Online, it's wealthstandardfinancial.com. Well, Brian, we got about a minute left in the program, and like we do each and every week, my friend, the floor is all yours today for the final word.
I really enjoyed myself today because we talked about a lot of subjects and a lot of things that are near and dear to my heart. And we're in the midst of a nonstop news barrage. So we talked about that low information diet. We talked about figuring out what you want to do in retirement, managing your taxes, healthcare. If you need a partner and you want a second opinion or a first opinion in many cases to go over your strategy, give you some ideas, and then get in the weeds of how we can help and make a huge impact on your retirement, that's what we're here for. So name's Brian Butler, the retirement chef, whipping up wealth. And I just really look forward to connecting with you all over the next few weeks. And I look forward to hearing from you.
The opinions voiced in The Retirement Chef, Whipping Up Wealth with Brian Butler are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. No strategy assures success or protects against loss. To determine what may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, financial, or tax advisor prior to investing. Guests on The Retirement Chef, Whipping Up Wealth are not affiliated with CWM LLC. Investment advisory services offered through CWM LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.